Here.
Thank you.
Appreciated the opportunity to meet yesterday to learn about your priorities and discuss a number of issues that are important to me. But I got to tell you, as I reflected on our conversation yesterday and as I've observed the hearing today, I continue to have significant reservations on your ability to function as a truly independent Attorney General for your friend. Let's say you keep referring to him, your friend, President-elect Trump. So I hope you can address some of these concerns through your responses to my questions here. Now, the first issue area is something that we didn't get a chance to touch on yesterday. So I actually want to follow up on some of Senator Durbin's questions from earlier about the 2020 election. And to be specific, on the day after the 2020 presidential general election, you traveled to Philadelphia to appear alongside President Trump's then attorney, Rudy Giuliani. And together, you falsely asserted that President Trump had, quote, won Pennsylvania in that election. Now, I want to be clear, at that moment, there were still at least 1 million ballots left to be counted in Pennsylvania. Of course, President Biden went on to win the state by more than 80,000 votes. But in the following days, even after the results were clear, you continued to double down on the big lie, promoting falsehoods about election fraud and cheating without offering any actual evidence. And I remember it clearly because I served as California Secretary of State at the time, and I invited anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate that. My clock is ticking, and I want to hear
all of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question.
I was
Do
hoping
you have evidence, yes or
would.
no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have the evidence, yes or no?
I traveled, Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're not answering my question. If you have no evidence to offer, let me ask you this. Will you now retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, yes or no?
Oh, Senator, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and let me tell you what I saw firsthand.
Yes or no?
I didn't talk about California because I was not in California. I talked about...
Yes or no? Last time I'm going to ask.
I talked about Pennsylvania because
Mr.
I
Chair,
was there.
I'm going to move on because she's clearly not answering my questions. And I want to know, colleagues, for everybody, members of the committee and everybody watching, that the attorney who stood beside Mr. Giuliani was making very similar statements. And he has since been disbarred from multiple jurisdictions for making these false claims about the 2020 election in court. And like Mr. Giuliani, as you've noted today, you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution just as an attorney. And now you're asking us to consider you to serve as the chief law enforcement officer in our country. So it's imperative, Ms. Bondi, that you subscribe to facts and evidence and not politically convenient conspiracy theories. Your job will be, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Let me move on to a different topic.
Senator, you were speaking. May I speak? You cut me off when I was speaking. When I ask you the next question, you can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi. Well, I'd like to answer the previous one, Senator.
When we met yesterday,
you pointed your finger at me and
you
said
did not
you were
seem
speaking.
to be familiar
let me answer my question.
with
I'm not going to be bullied by you,
the
Senator
14th
Padilla.
Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you didn't want to hear my answer about
today
Pennsylvania.
After I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed as Attorney General...
You're the one asking for a confirmation vote,
ma'am. Hey, you cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for today.
So on the 14th Amendment, now you've testified repeatedly to this committee that you will uphold the laws of this country and defend the Constitution of the United States. Do you believe birthright citizenship is the law of the land, and will you defend it regardless of a child born in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status?
Senator, I will study birthright citizenship. I would love to meet with you regarding birthright citizenship. Can I answer the question?
Serve as the Attorney General of the United States, and you still need to study the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? That is not helping me have more confidence in your ability to do this job. One other immigration-related question, I'll steer clear of the Constitution
I have one
and the
regarding
law.
that I'd like
Senator
to talk
Hirona
about.
asked you earlier, but I don't think you answered her question. Can you please tell us, do you agree with the statement that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, yes or no?
I did not say that.
I did not say that you said that. I'm asking if you agree with it, yes or no.
I did not say that.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
My great-grandparents are immigrants.
Do you agree with it,
They
yes or no?
They came here from Sicily
Do you agree
through
with it,
Ellis
yes
Island
or no?
when they were teenagers.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, let me answer the question.
Yes or no? It's
My
real simple.
great-grandparents came here, immigrated to this country from Sicily, recently went and found each of their birth certificates. We are a nation made up of immigrants. Do I believe immigrants are poisoning our country? No, Senator.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I can't wait for the second round.
Same, Senator. Thank you. No, sir. Thank you.
Congressional confirmation hearings serve as the ultimate constitutional stress test, where the qualifications and impartialities of a nominee are measured against the requirements of the office. On January 15, 2025, the Senate Judiciary Committee convened to consider former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi for the role of U.S. Attorney General. To understand the 2026 legal landscape, we must analyze the specific exchanges regarding election integrity and the fundamental interpretation of the 14th Amendment. A central theme of this hearing was election evidence and accountability. Senator Alex Padilla, drawing on his experience as the former Secretary of State of California, confronted Bondi regarding her actions following the 2020 presidential election. Specifically, the inquiry focused on her appearance in Philadelphia alongside Rudy Giuliani, where she asserted that the election had been won by the incumbent before all ballots were counted. From an educational perspective, this illustrates the duty of candor expected of legal professionals. The hearing examined whether a nominee for Attorney General can be trusted to uphold facts over politically convenient conspiracy theories. For the viewer, the takeaway is the institutional independence requirement. The Attorney General's role is to protect the integrity of the vote, not to serve as a legal surrogate for a political friend. The discourse then shifted to constitutional literacy and the 14th Amendment. A major point of friction occurred when Senator Padilla questioned Bondi on the citizenship clause. Legal education on this topic is rooted in the plain text: all persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States. Despite testifying that she would defend the Constitution, Bondi stated she would need to study birthright citizenship before committing to its defense. This represents a significant interpretive conflict in 2025 and 2026. While the legal consensus for over a century has affirmed that children born in the U.S. are citizens regardless of their parent status, the nominee's refusal to categorize it as settled law signals a potential shift in how the Department of Justice may view executive orders targeting birthright citizenship in the future. A particularly revealing portion of the hearing involved linguistic deterrence and civil rights. Senator Padilla pushed the nominee to respond to rhetoric suggesting that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. From a legal and ethical standpoint, this relates to the equal protection principles of the 14th Amendment. While Bondi distanced herself from that specific phrasing, citing her own heritage as a descendant of Sicilian immigrants, the exchange highlighted the moral neutrality required of the head of the DOJ. The 2026 standards of the department emphasize that the Attorney General must be a nation's lawyer, ensuring that federal enforcement does not become a tool for dehumanizing specific populations. The hearing also provided a platform to discuss professional disbarment and ethical standards. By referencing the disbarment of other attorneys involved in the 2020 election challenges, the committee underscored the high stakes of legal misrepresentation. In the 2025 to 2026 cycle, the rule of law is increasingly defined by a rejection of the big lie in favor of certified outcomes and judicial findings. The lesson for the audience is that the Attorney General must subscribe to facts and evidence to maintain the social capital necessary for the Department of Justice to function. If the chief law enforcement officer is perceived as doxing or undermining election workers based on unproven claims, the entire structure of federal law enforcement faces a legitimacy crisis. Furthermore, we must consider the administrative readiness of the nominee. Bondi's responses, including her refusal to do homework assignments for the committee, illustrated a confrontational style that has become a hallmark of the 2025 confirmation season. The hearing examined whether her experience as a state prosecutor and AG would translate into a fair application of federal law, particularly in cases involving separation of powers. As we have seen in late 2025 and early 2026, the DOJ's handling of independent investigations has become the primary metric for measuring the department's integrity. In summary, the January 2025 Senate Judiciary hearing reveals a nation grappling with the independence of the Justice Department. Whether it is debating the 2020 Pennsylvania vote or the mandatory study of birthright citizenship, every exchange is a lesson in how accountability is enforced during the transition of power. These are not merely partisan talking points, they are the foundational questions that determine the stability of the American Republic. By understanding the link between historical evidence, constitutional text, and the separation of powers, viewers gain a clearer view of the legal standards that will define the Department of Justice for the next generation.